Hey everybody, what is going on? Welcome back to How's It Going to End. Today we have somewhat of a actual busy episode. I got a actual list of shit to talk about. In somewhat of a specific order, of things that I want to tackle. So I'm gonna try and cut to the chase. But first, how's everybody doing? You know? How's your week? It's finally Friday, even though every day feels the same. I'm sitting here with my co-host, my official co-host. When I start doing the video podcast, he will be sitting by my side for every episode. I'm sitting here. I got Grogu. I got the child from Sideshow Collectibles. Don't ask how much, because it was expensive. But it's worth it because I don't spend money on shit. So I'm looking at his adorable little fucking nose right now, and it's bothering me how cute he is. I'm gonna go to Baby Gap. I'm gonna go to Baby Gap and I'm gonna buy him shit, and it's gonna happen. And I know that's ridiculous and a waste of money. It's gonna happen. It's still gonna happen. I'm gonna get him a little Mets hat and a fucking jersey. Oh, it's gonna be adorable. This is what I'm gonna be super disrespectful right now. This is what parents must feel like. I'm gonna dress him up, and the good thing is he doesn't talk, he doesn't cry. I don't gotta actually deal with the fucking baby. I just get to dress him up and take pictures. And he is the co-host to the podcast. And soon enough, I'm setting everything up. The room is getting put together. Shit is actually being done. Growing up, my brother and I shared a room for every day of every fucking year since we were children, since we were little. And recently he moved out. So it's like, I finally get to do what I fucking want. I'm actually making shit move around. I'm moving cabinets and a whole other bed out of the room, and I'm able to actually make a space where it's like I can, have a desk finally in the corner of the room, which going to school and I would spend hours at college on campus not coming home because I knew I would come home. I don't have a space to be I have to write a fucking 15-page paper. I'll just sit on the fucking toilet and do it or something. That's the only private fucking space. But now I actually have a desk set up. I have a corner that is comfortable, and it's not claustrophobic, and it's quiet. I do plan on getting those soundproof pads because I don't know, anything to make this shit sound better. But yeah, I am so looking forward to how this is gonna progress. I'm really anxiously excited to express all the geeky movie cinephile shit that I'm into, to talk about all kinds of stuff. It's like a whole new start to the podcast, just because I don't want this to become a thing where I feel obligated to do it. You know what I mean? I don't want to turn something that I clearly am enjoying and plan on enjoying into gotta fucking record an episode. So I'm stoked. I'm really looking forward to where this is going. And we got a packed episode today, so I'm gonna just go over some of the miscellaneous news throughout the week, and then we're gonna talk about the Golden Globes and all the nominations and the snubs and all that other shit. And then we're going to talk about Malcolm and Marie, because holy fuck, what a fucking movie. And then we're going to talk about WonkaVision and how insane this show is getting, and how much I'm falling in love with it too. How much I'm infatuated with this fucking show. First up, something that I am highly anticipated for. I mean, hearing about this, I think it was last summer when Marvel talked about the next couple phases or whatever, and all the shows and the upcoming films. Blade, Mahershala Ali's Blade film, which is my most anticipated movie in the next whatever levels of the MCU there is. It's what I'm most excited for. Wesley Snipes' trilogy is one of the most insane sets of comic book movies. It's what's interesting about them is the first one is unlike anything. I mean, it came before X-Men, Spider-Man, that whole boost of early 2000s superhero comic book movies. It really jumpstarted. And it was during a time when Marvel was like selling off. I think they sold. Marvel sold Blade to New Line Cinema in the 90s for next to nothing. I mean, compared to how well the first movie did and how insane the trilogy became. I mean, the first film in 1998 made like, I think it had a budget of around 150 million, and it pocketed around 430 million, which in 1998 is fucking insane. So that was a jump start. And then the second one came out with Guillermo del Toro fucking directing. And so it was like peak insanity when it came to the blood and the body gore and the stylistic nature of it. And then the third one, I don't remember much about it. But the first and the second were really something else. Not to mention they were R-rated. Do you know how fucking crazy? You can't do Blade without an R rating. So, okay, back to the news following Mahershala Ali's Blade. One of the writers for HBO's Watchmen series, Stacey Osei Kaffour, is signed on to pen the script for Mahershala Ali's Blade. Now, that's insane because HBO's Watchmen is fucking incredible. Damon Lindelof is one of my favorite creative minds when it comes to just overall entertainment. The guy expands from ideas so well. I mean, from like Lost to The Leftovers, all to HBO's Watchmen. I mean, he does it so well, and he does just what he wants to do. He doesn't like go beyond to where it becomes ridiculous and unnecessary and kind of pathetic. That's what's so great about this is now Stacey is coming from that like incredible success. I mean, HBO's Watchmen won. It won so many awards. It had so many people talking about how intricate and how interesting it was, and how when it came to comic book shows, it was unlike anything. I mean, there's always going to be those shows that stand out in the comic book like show genre, like Daredevil, and now WonkaVision. But something about HBO's Watchmen, it's one single season, and it packed the perfect punch. And to have a writer from that show, or one of the minds from that show, move on to something for the MCU is insane. I mean, especially for Blade, you got to make this fucking rated R, man. You can't do Blade without an R rating. He's chopping up vampires all fucking day, and it's bloody and it's fucking gory and it's an interesting, ridiculous world. You can't not do it in rated R. You can't do it. Cut it out. This is going to be something else, and I fucking am so excited for it. It's the number one thing I'm looking forward to coming from the MCU within the next 5 years. What I think is like being obviously like, pointed out, and with the idea of having these Marvel channel its way through Disney Plus, is it's opening so many different lanes for so many interesting and unique possibilities. WonkaVision is just the first. It's just the beginning of something entirely new coming from the MCU that I'm so fucking excited about. This, I mean, I feel like a lot of people can be saying this. Besides for a couple, movies in the next 3-4 years, I couldn't care less about some of the movies coming out compared to some of the shows coming out. You're not going to get anyone as excited as they were for Endgame and Infinity War. It's not going to happen. You built, which rightfully so, on 10 years of momentum for this two-parter climactic event. What's going to happen in the next, couple of movies? There's not going to be a Avengers group movie, but we're going to have everybody show up in everything, so you better come and see these movies. I don't give a shit about some of these movies coming out. I think I care about 2 or 3 of the next couple of movies coming out from Marvel. But the shows are going to be entirely different. They have entirely different structures to them, and so much more. I feel like obviously there's going to be so much more fucking effort put into them, but so much more intricate ways to go about them. From WonkaVision to Falcon Winter Soldier, She-Hulk, and all these other shows, Moon Knight, Miss Marvel. It's just this is an interesting time for Marvel TV. It's so funny to think that like after 10 years of Marvel movies kind of like dominating the fucking box office, is like now we're gonna go. It's like a fucking chill period where it's like, all right, everyone, relax at home and here's some like fucking 1,000-hour piping hot dishes that we've painstakingly pieced together that are so structurally different from the last 10 years of movies that they've made. The last 10 years of movies can be diluted down to average group movie, average group movie. And it's just the way it is. I don't think that anyone was like, oh yeah, my favorite, MCU movie is Ant-Man. My favorite MCU movie is, another fucking... It's expanding from that. It's moving beyond that idea because you have to know, like, it's going to be very difficult to build hype higher than what you built for Endgame. And I just can't wait for this round of shows that are unlike anything right now. A national treasure, a cinematic national treasure, passed away. Christopher Plummer died at 91. That's a fucking gut punch. I mean, 91's a solid age. That's a healthy long life, but fuck, it had like this guy of all people. That's like when Scott Wilson died a couple years ago. Granted, he was 76, but still, that's one of those deaths where it's like, oh. It really feels like shit, but Christopher Plummer is one of those actors that you don't realize how much he was actually in and how much he like affected stuff. I mean, everyone knows The Sound of Music. It's an instant classic that will permeate the fucking culture till the end of time. But when you think about how far, like how much this guy was actually involved with some things, it's wild. And yeah, 91 years old. That's a solid chunk of time. Solemnly moving on. Oh God, I have a bunch of tabs open for stuff I want to talk about, and I just reread the title of this fucking article. Kevin Feige quashes hopes for Marvel Star Wars crossover. Quote, I don't see any reason for it. Yeah, bitch, no shit. Who the fuck said I want to see Marvel and Star Wars crossover? Get a fucking lobotomy. It's just so like such a grotesque idea. I just want to see fucking C-3PO and fucking Rocket Raccoon walk on the same screen. Like that's all that those ideas are. There's nothing attached to it whatsoever. Nothing comes from that other than fucking R2-D2 beeping at Groot, and that's it. 3 seconds of oh shit, that's fucking what's his face and what's her name. Oh, that's awesome, and then that's it, done. And then it's a 2-hour fucking quip fest. Every character being, a snarky fucking Joker. Obnoxiously moving on. Last thing before I move on to the Golden Globe shit. I mean, I knew that this was bullshit, but there was a rumor going around that Henry Cavill would appear in Shazam 2. And a completely unfounded rumor. Like, there was no basis in reality whatsoever, but people like to spread shit, and it spread real far, and there was a lot of people really excited. But obviously, it's not fucking real. Okay? Come on, guys. Come on. Quit fucking putting your dreams and, like, hopes into the world. Don't we already know there's no point in doing that shit? That was a little too real. Let's back up and redirect to the Golden Globes. Okay. The 78th annual Golden Globes are coming up. All the nominees were released, and I think there are actually some records kind of broken. Even though the entire last chunk of entertainment has been so sabotaged by the pandemic, it didn't stop a lot of A lot of actually interesting stuff, and a lot of fucking. I mean, I think you have to expect that like there's going to be some every award season. There's going to be a round of snubs where it's like, how do you not acknowledge this? How has something like this good not been touched upon by this fucking award season? So, just a couple of the quick facts. Mank, one of my favorite fucking films last year, received 6 nominations. The Trial of Chicago 7 received 5, with Sacha Baron Cohen receiving, I think, one. He received, him and Borat and Trial of Chicago 7 each received a couple. So he's the first in a while to be nominated for 2 different characters, I think, or something, or 2 different roles at the same time in the same award season. And Maria Bakalova has been nominated too, which is, I mean, that's like a rising star type shit. I mean, if you haven't seen Borat 2, she's excellent in it, and the commitment. There's something so great about that type of fucking the commitment you need to have for projects like that. I mean, even to just be working alongside Sacha Baron Cohen at any point, it takes a whole other level of commitment. But yeah, that was she was great in that. She was something else. So that's a whole other thing going on. And of course, I mean, I say of course not in an annoyed way. I say of course not in a fucking frustrated way, but in a yeah, obviously kind of way. Chadwick Boseman was posthumously nominated for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, which obviously, I mean, he's so good in that fucking movie, and his speech, and it's just like, that's one of the fucking stories in the universe where it's like, oh yeah, that would happen. He would die of something incredibly awful while giving no hints at it in the public and working like a fucking champion, and then would get nominated after his death for an incredible role. Like, that's just, you can't write that sometimes. It's just a perfect kind of way the road goes down, you know? I don't even know what the fuck that means. All right, going to move on to some of the... I'm not going to go through all the nominations. I'm going to go through some of the shit that I found interesting and talk about the fact that The Boys didn't get any fucking nominations. How the fuck does that happen? All right. Best television series drama. You got The Crown, which I didn't watch. Just another one of those fucking projects from Netflix where everyone tells me to watch it and I don't watch it. Lovecraft Country, which is amazing. The Mandalorian, which was interesting this season. It was unbearably slow the first 4, and then amazing the last 4 episodes. So makes sense it'd be there. Ozark, I've never seen, but I hear it's great. I'm not typically a Jason Bateman guy, but I hear that's a great show. And then Ratched with Sarah Paulson, which I've never seen. Or haven't even really heard of. I don't know. I've never heard of that fucking show. Best limited series or motion picture made for television, The Queen's Gambit. If it doesn't fucking win, The Queen's Gambit is one of the best pieces of television in a very, very long time. Anya Taylor-Joy is just so... She's something fucking else, man. I mean, the ability for the fucking... whatever, it's not sport. The game of chess to be turned into a sport, essentially. I never would have fucking bet that would have happened. That I would be... I have no clue what's going on, but I can feel the momentum in the scene. When you know, seeing someone just move pieces around, I'm like, oh, shit's getting fucking heated. And then you look at the way their eyes move, or the way they slouch or turn, or it's like all this little subtle shit that really builds the scene well. And that's like that's all of the Queen's Gambit. So much of it is internalized, which is I think difficult for most shows or even movies to do, to tell a story internally. I think it's very possible, or mostly shows do. Mad Men and all those, they can tell very internal stories. They don't exactly have to fucking spell everything for people to piece shit together. Best Motion Picture Drama. You got The Father, which I haven't seen. Mank, which I fucking loved. I really, really enjoyed Mank. For so many different reasons. The main one being, as someone who really enjoys writing, and the fact that the movie was strictly about the writing of and the force behind writing of Citizen Kane, behind the writing of Citizen Kane. It was great to see outward sources and stuff like that affect the way that the movie was written, as if it was actually like, as if it actually preceded, as if Citizen Kane preceded this movie, you know, ending the movie with fucking Orson Welles flipping out and breaking shit because Mank wants credit for the film, and then Mank having the wherewithal to be like, yes, that's a great climax. Is Kane has a great fit of aggression and anger, and it's like, I remember that scene, and I love the idea that you know, in history, that's how that scene was pieced together, through an actual altercation between the two of them. And then you got Nomadland with Frances McDormand, which is, I mean, I can watch that fucking woman in anything. And then you got Promising Young Woman, which I had just seen, like, just before recording this. And, oh my, that's so good too. I've been a huge Bo Burnham fan since I was like really young, since he was doing his Comedy Central, half hours when he was 18. And seeing him like move from stand-up comedy to television to dramatic roles to directing. He directed 8th Grade, a movie that came out a couple of years ago, which is so good. If you haven't seen it, it's about like growing up in this age, and when you think of coming of age tales, you always think of like, you know, stuff that romanticizes stuff when you were young. But this is the kind of movie that, like, I think we can all think of like shit when we were growing up that was not fucking picture perfect, that really fucked with us. And then if we go through nostalgia, it's like, yeah, but if you really think about how you went through it, it was fucking unbearable. That's what 8th Grade is. It breaks down a coming of age tale really, really well, in a really realistic lens. And it's so great to see Bo like actually acting in a dramatic role. And of course he's got his witty cynicism in every role somehow. I mean, but that's just the kind of, I guess, the person he brings to the role, which is always great. I got to see him live a couple times, which was fucking something. Best actor in a supporting role in any motion picture. You got Sacha Baron Cohen for The Trial of Chicago 7. Fuck yeah, I love that movie, and he's excellent in it. Daniel Kaluuya in Judas and the Black Messiah, which hasn't come out yet, which it's gonna go straight to HBO Max in theaters. That looks fucking incredible. Him and Lakeith Stanfield in that, it's like those are powerhouse actors in an incredibly interesting and unfortunately fucking relevant, like, I mean, anything that takes place, 50, 40 years ago is always going to be fucking relevant now with the way the fucking world is. But that looks really, really good. Jared Leto in The Little Things, I think that's been out, but I haven't actually seen it. I saw a trailer for it, and he looks fucking terrifying in it. But yeah, Bill Murray in On the Rocks. I haven't seen On the Rocks. Maybe I'll check that out. And Leslie Odom Jr. in One Night in Miami. Holy shit, that might be one of my favorite roles of One Night in Miami. Leslie played Sam Cooke. I mean, the legend Sam Cooke, and really uncannily, is that a word? Uncannily, really, really well. Like, scary good at personifying this fucking icon on screen. Oh man, look, I don't think I've looked through these entirely, these nominations. This is going to be a interesting one. Best Supporting Actress, you got Glenn Close and Hillbilly Elegy. What an annoying fucking name. I liked the movie, and I love Amy Adams, but there were so many like fucking obstacles with this movie that made it like I can 100% understand if you didn't like this fucking movie. Olivia Colman in The Father, Jodie Foster in the how do you say that? Mauritanian, which I haven't seen. I don't think that's out yet either. Amanda Seyfried in Mank. Oh my God, what a fucking killer she is in Mank. And then there we go, best actor in a motion picture, musical, or comedy. Sacha Baron Cohen for Borat. Like, I don't think that's happened in a while. I'm not gonna fucking search it because I'm lazy. But he's nominated for 2 different roles in 2 different categories. He had a good fucking year. I don't remember the last time I saw anything involved with Sacha Baron Cohen. The only thing I'd heard about since before the Trial of Chicago 7 and Borat 2 was how he was supposed to play Freddie Mercury in Bohemian Rhapsody, but then that all went to shit. Which I 100% preferred to watch his Bohemian Rhapsody compared to Malik's. I love Rami Malek, and he brings Freddie Mercury to life through his performance, but fuck, man, is that movie boring? How do you have a Freddie Mercury movie, and yeah, I get it, it's a Queen movie, but Freddie Mercury's the fucking dead one, man. How do you make a Freddie Mercury movie boring? I don't care how many neon transitions you have between the states they travel to and the countries they travel to. When I watch that and then I watch Rocket Man after, Rocket Man is a fucking musical like fever dream of a movie, and that is how do you not give that same like force, that life force that Mercury was, and then his movie is so fucking, I don't know. Great performance by Malik, but Jesus Christ, Sacha Baron Cohen's plan, I think, was to like dive deep into how fucking hedonistic Mercury was. How much he was fucking and sucking all day, and doing every fucking drug known to man. I mean, like the one joke everyone knows that is real is he would have little people walking around with trays on their heads with cocaine on the trays. Like, they kind of dip into it with Malik's movie, but it's like so fucking tame. He walks in with like a nondescript beer bottle, or someone walks into his room and they see a needle on the table. It's just so fucking lame. You 100% know Sacha Baron Cohen's performance would have been like so excessive, and I think that he lived an excessive fucking life. I mean, Christ, I don't know. That would have been interesting. But yeah, that is the last time I fucking heard anything of Sacha Baron Cohen, I think. So I also love the title. I also love the title he gives the Borat movies. Borat's subsequent movie film. I fucking love how like half-assed, half English that is, the way it's just pieced together. That's so fucking good. Animated Best Picture. If Soul doesn't win, go fuck yourself. I don't care about Onward. I don't care about The Croods, A New Age. I haven't heard of Wolfwalkers or Over the Moon. If Soul doesn't win, get the fuck out of here. Come on. Cut the shit. Moving on to Best Actor in a Motion Picture. You got Chadwick Boseman, his posthumous nomination for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. This is a tough one. This set of names is a tough one. You got Boseman. You got Riz Ahmed for The Sound of Metal, which is one of the most electric, like, momentous performances of an actor. I mean, the guy is consistently proving how talented he is, but The Sound of Metal is I feel like I'm saying that a lot, but it was for several things. It was something else. It really was. The intensity of such a fucking role. Anthony Hopkins in The Father. What the fuck is The Father? Every old famous actor is in this movie. I haven't fucking heard of it. Gary Oldman in Mank, which is interesting. I loved Oldman in this movie. I think he's fantastic as Mank. I don't think this is one of his award-worthy roles. I think he's played several like other roles that are 100% more deserving of awards, at least when compared to Ahmed and Boseman, and I don't think the Mauritanian is in Mauritanian. Fucking annoying name. I don't think that's out yet. But I mean, compared to these other guys, I don't know. I would 100% go towards Ahmed or Boseman in this one. Should I do like a bracket type thing? I don't know. Maybe for the Oscars we'll do that. Best Actress in a Motion Picture: Viola Davis in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Andra Day in The United States versus Billie Holiday. I haven't heard of that either. That's the fucking another problem with this last, almost full year in entertainment is a lot of stuff went super under the radar. Frances McDormand in Nomadland, hell yeah. Carey Mulligan in Promising Young Woman, hell yeah. Oh my god. What's fucking dynamite performances? Best actress in a motion picture, musical, or comedy, Maria Bakalova. Like, that's so insane. This is her breakout role, and she's fucking shooting through, man. That's got to be fucking lively, Anya Taylor-Joy in Emma. I loved Emma. I love Anya Taylor-Joy. I can watch her in fucking anything. I can't wait to see her as Furiosa. Rosamund Pike in I Care a Lot. Rosamund Pike is one of those actresses that I fucking can't take my eyes off of. Not just because she's fucking stunning, but also because she commands the screen so well. Michelle Pfeiffer in French Exit and Kate Hudson in music. Best actor in a motion picture or comedy. Oh, yeah. Oh, no. So that's what it was. Sacha Baron Cohen for Borat was nominated twice and in two different categories, and for Trial of Chicago 7. James Corden in The Prom, Lin-Manuel Miranda in Hamilton. Dev Patel in The Personal History of David Copperfield. I love Dev Patel. I haven't heard of that, though. Andy Samberg in Palm Springs. Makes sense. This is a lot of people that I'm really fucking into, man. Best Director, David Fincher, Regina King, Aaron Sorkin, Chloe Zhao, and Emerald Fennell. Oh, that's going to be a tough one. Fincher, King, Sorkin, Zhao, and Fennell. That's, first off, Regina King made gold with One Night in Miami. Personally, that's what I think. She crafted an incredible story full of these icons. And then Aaron Sorkin, I think, was this his first? No, I think he directed one film before this. It was a film with Jessica Chastain. Yeah, Molly's Game in 2017. Trial of Chicago 7 is one of those legal dramas that I can rewatch anytime. Fincher fucking transported back to 1940 and brought this movie back. Chloe with Nomadland and Fennell with Promising Woman. What I loved about Promising Young Woman specifically was how I saw an interview with Bo Burnham, and he talked about reading the script and how the script is what captivated him, and then he got roped into like such an interesting director with an amazing actress like Carey Mulligan attached. So that's got to be fucking intimidating. Yeah. All right, that's like the only ones I'm gonna fucking cover when it comes to the what was it, 78th Golden Globes? Yep, with Tina Fey and Amy Poehler to host, which is like, that's cool. Moving on to something I've wanted to talk about this entire time so badly. Malcolm and Marie. Should I do WonkaVision or Malcolm and Marie? I'll do Malcolm and Marie and then WonkaVision, and then, because WonkaVision will deal with the Spider-Man multiverse stuff I want to talk about. Malcolm and Marie, I rewatched it a couple times, actually. Malcolm and Marie, written directed by Sam Levinson, it was the first movie to be written, made, and edited during the pandemic, or one of the first. I know that it took like maybe a day over 3 weeks to make, and I don't remember the last time a movie like this, a personal, very small project like this, held so much weight between the actors and the director and the performances and the setting and all the fucking the weight this movie threw around the entire time. Holy shit. First off, what an exhausting movie, and I mean that in the best way possible. This movie starts off instant. It starts off with so much fucking contentious, like, suppressed aggression, and passive aggression it starts off with. And basically, John David Washington plays a filmmaker. They're coming back from the premiere of his movie, and he talked to a bunch of critics, and everyone loved his movie. And him and his girl Zendaya get into like a whole, multiple hour long fucking grudge match. Oh my god, what a fucking grudge match! That's a great way to I think that to describe this movie is a fucking grudge match between two unbelievable talents. First off, Zendaya and I'm gonna John David Washington and Zendaya have once again proven how much talent a couple of human beings can really hold. These fucking they're they're more than powerful performances, really. If you haven't seen this movie, I mean, you can't really even spoil a movie like this. This movie's like an experience. It's not something that, specific chunks of information change anything. But I'm not gonna go crazy with it. Zendaya's performance is heartbreaking. Her performance is truly heartbreaking. J.D. Washington brings this aloof levity somehow every once in a while. He's so egotistical and narcissistic as a character, and at the same time he's very caring, but he's not. He's very aloof. He's very, kind of bouncing around, while Zendaya brings this emotional intensity and weight. And the rhythm of this movie is it's cyclical. It's a flat line for maybe a couple minutes, and then there's a huge clash, and then you see why they love each other, and then you see why they hate each other, and you see this. It's a very interesting kind of. I mean, it's not. They said in the trailer, not a love story, a story of love. It's very interesting the way that they tell this, as a love story, as opposed to how some love stories are like in not romantic comedies, but like romantic dramas, where rom-drams, I don't know, where say something happens between two people and they fall out and or they eventually get back together in the end. It never seems that serious, but with this, it always seems like, all right, he did the romantic gesture, she, put up with his fucking ridiculousness, and now they're back together. But this one is just so exhausting. And first off, I mean, this is not first off. I've already talked about so much about this. I felt like I was fucking intruding with this movie. I felt like I should not have been watching everything unfolding. It was so intimate through positive and negative like clashing. It's so. I felt like I was a fucking trespasser watching these two people lay their lives out on like blatantly out on a table, and I should not have been. It's like eavesdropping on someone when they have no idea that they're being heard or watched. You're seeing them at this peak vulnerability that you can't. The most performances, actors don't pull that shit out anymore. But Zendaya and J.D. Washington brought this like fucking nothing, dude. There's this one of my favorite moments of this is fucking Zendaya makes I'll go by their character names. Marie makes Malcolm fucking macaroni and cheese, and he's playing with the macaroni and cheese with the fork, just like mixing it around, and he's very animated with it, but you can tell it's just it's like he invented a way that this guy eats. It made me think of James Gandolfini in The Sopranos. He played with his food like it was fucking like it was running away. He moved his fork in such erratic movements that it was just like, what the fuck is this? Just an acting thing that he does? It's just a trait that Tony does, and J.D. Washington kind of does the same thing with the macaroni. He'll like spoon a bunch of it in his mouth, talk with his mouth like open, and then keep spooning it around, and it was really, really funny. And then in between arguing, he gets a second bowl, and she's astounded that he's like he's so on autopilot with verbally abusing her that he doesn't even think about it while he's getting a second bowl of mac and cheese. It's so that's what it is. This movie is so fucking honest, and it's just when it comes to a relationship of two people that love each other and the faults that they both contain and the ways that they both express love or regret or hatred to each other is so honest. And even the way they make fun of each other, it's like childish, which I feel like you wouldn't see now, the way that they go back and forth with each other. But yeah, it's so good. There are some moments where I'm like, oh shit, he did not just fucking say that. I'm imagining in real life saying that to like a fucking, saying that to your girl or her, she so like eloquently fucking breaks him down at some point. It's like, oh my god, I'll leave. It's like when you're over at a friend's house and the parents argue, and you just sit there like, oh please stop, please, I don't want. This is so uncomfortable. Can we just fucking, But it's so like you don't want it to end because it's so fucking good, and because it's so simple of a production. They had, I think maybe 20 people working on this fucking movie. And they filmed it in this like museum, very modern style, open concept fucking house. It's this architectural structure in California. I think it's called the Caterpillar House, something like that. It's not a maze exactly, but there's a momentum to every room. The way one room leads into the living room, into the bathroom, into the kitchen, and almost like a pinball set. Everything is it weaves from one thing to another, and most of the walls are fucking glass from the inside. That's another thing, is this they live, presumably the production company put them in this house during the promotion of the movie, and it's very isolated. They're in the middle of like wheat fields almost, and that's another part of it, of the feeling like I'm intruding, is it's them two and no one else for miles, and then it's me watching them deal with all this personal shit, or just the viewer watching them go through such personal stuff. It felt so wrong, but that's what made it so good. Was seeing complete. I mean, they make fun of the idea of authenticity in film in this movie, but it was completely authentic. Like if you watch the movie, you know how ridiculous that is, how great it is now. If I think about something being authentic in a movie, I'm going to think about this movie. How great is it also that in the last couple of years we got more than enough great movies that kind of revolve around making movies, because at the same time of them having their argument, Malcolm is dealing with reviews and what people think of his movie, and he gets a review back from this white chick at the LA Times, and he's the way he thinks about these reviews, like, it's obviously a filmmaker's point of view about filmmaking, and hearing someone who's not a filmmaker talk about it, it's very interesting. The way that he doesn't hold back, because it allows for that conversation of like, critics don't put themselves into their work the way that a filmmaker puts themselves into their work. A critic is able to kind of piece something apart, while a filmmaker puts everything together. So yeah, it's just so. There are some moments in this movie where I'm like, oh my god, the way that they're able to pull such sincere emotion through their face, and then in an instant the tone changes, and it's like, oh shit, we're moving on, and it's what a good movie. What a fucking this is going to be one of the contenders, I guess, for next year. I mean, I don't know if it's going to be involved in any of the award season coming up, but holy shit, it's a fucking contender, I'll tell you that right now. All right. Moving on moving on to WonkaVision. The fuck, man. The fuck. All right, listen. If you're pissy about spoilers, spoiler warning. I don't know what to tell you. How the fuck do people complain about spoilers when something is instantly fucking accessible on a streaming service? Get the fuck out of here. Okay? If it's a movie, I understand. Not everyone can make it out to a theater like when life was normal and premieres came out and then someone posted some shit the day the movie came out. I fucking get that. I understand how annoying that can be, even though I don't give a shit about spoilers. I've gotten spoiled for so many things. For Last of Us Part 2, Endgame, Infinity War, all these giant things that people fucking bitch and moan about. I don't give a shit, because when I'm dealing with it, when I'm watching the movie or playing the video game, it's the last thing on my fucking mind is the spoiler I read or the screenshot I saw. But for WonkaVision is given to you in your pocket at a specific time to everybody. So cut the shit. Fucking spoilers and all that bullshit. Grow the fuck up. Be responsible. If you expect the internet to fucking shield you, guess the fuck what? No, it's not gonna happen. It's fucking childish is what it is. It's so obnoxious. Like, Well, you should at least put, and I don't see from people who actually got spoiled complaining. The majority of the comments I got were like, I saw it, and but you know, it's nice. You should put a warning. It's like, get the fuck out of here, man. The like soft fucking underbelly of someone being like, oh, spoilers, you ruined it. Oh my god, it's so fucking like, grow the fuck up. Be responsible for yourself. If you don't want to see spoilers, get off the fucking internet. You cannot expect, especially for something on a streaming service. It's in your pocket right now. Watch it. Don't look at Instagram. Watch it. Now, spoiler warning, you fucking whiny bitches. The gaslighting in this episode is strong. This is my worst fear that I can possibly think of. That's like not, that doesn't put me in mortal danger, like a fucking shark or something. This concept alone, where everyone else is in on something and you're not, and they convince you like, no, everything's fine, what are you talking about, and you know something is up. Oh, that's terrifying to me. That is like a mind crippling fucking fear of mine. Vision walking around being like, all right, I know something is going on. The love of my life is even fucking with me and telling me everything's fine. I am not safe and something is going on. That is fucking terrifying. The twins are growing up. And what I love about this is the way that they jump from babies to toddlers to like 10-year-olds. It's very sitcom-esque, you know, where they'll have a baby one season. The next season, the kid's 6 years old. And it's like, really, the time jump, just because you didn't want to, you probably just, it's interesting because they probably just, the production didn't want to deal with a baby on set. They're sort of like, all right, we'll just have a kid. No one cares about continuity. And it's like, that's all people care about, which is why it's so fun to mess around with in this show. Is there's no continuity in this show, and that is that's the continuity, is the fact that everything is kind of going fucking haywire. The same with the recast. So it was kind of like expected. Like, they were either going to bring in Evan Peters as Quicksilver because now they have access to them, or it was going to be Doc Strange, or it was going to be, you know, some fucking, I heard someone saying it like it was going to be Tobey Maguire, which is like, how the fuck does that make any goddamn sense? No, get the fuck out of here. But even like with that, like bringing him in and then having Darcy be like, they recasted him, which is another like ridiculous sitcom convention of being like, yeah, you know, an actor dropped out, or we don't like this actress, so and they're having problems on set, so we're just gonna recast her. No one cares. You know, Fresh Prince, Roseanne, Saved by the Bell. It's like they did a really interesting job at using that to an advantage, because now it's a perfect way to introduce cross-dimensional characters. Now you brought in Fox's Quicksilver, which breaks down the fucking possibility of like, hey man, he's a mutant. Canonically, Evans's Quicksilver is a mutant. Whatever enhanced, you know, Aaron Taylor Johnson's Quicksilver was, he was enhanced, but Evans's Quicksilver is a mutant, which means, can they bring other mutants in? I know next week we're going to find out more about his involvement. I mean, he just showed up and he gave the classic like, oh, long lost brother, which is so fucking fun to me. That's such a great idea. Like the formulaic sitcom idea being used for this. I wonder, can you bring in another version of her father? Can you bring in, because I heard there's supposed to be another insane fucking cameo in the finale. Would they bring in Michael Fassbender as Magneto? Possibly. I do expect Doctor Strange to get into this, because who the fuck would SWORD go to deal with reality shit? You know? Gotta go to Strange. But yeah, this is. Oh, I love this fucking show. It's not healthy how much I fucking love this show. So a couple theories about this episode. I believe Wanda. I believe that she didn't pull Evan Peters into the show. I think that was because Vision was catching on so well. Oh my god, that power display between them, like I know it's like, you know, it's kind of it's sitcom quality where you can tell that it's like strings pulling them up, but the intensity and the emotion between them is what makes it so fucking real and important. If you judge this show by the sitcom quality, you're not judging the show for real. The sitcom quality is part of the story. It helps tell the story. Which is why, like, I can understand if you're not a fan of the sitcom stuff, but move past it. Look at it as a whole. The story is being told through this filter, that really it undersells everything is what it does. So I think maybe I'm going to assume Mephisto's part of this, because why the fuck not? Mephisto and Agnes probably pulled him out. I think they pulled Evan Peters out, and they're like, all right, let's throw him into the mix because, you know, shit's going down, and we're seeing Wanda crack. We're seeing her crack when she came out, and she was in her Endgame gear, and she literally basically went from Tony's funeral to getting Vision's corpse, and then going to New Jersey. It's like she's instant. She's right in the grieving period. The grieving period is underway, but she's halting it with this, you know, with this house, with this playing of house. It's like, it's so fucked up, and it's so genuinely unsettling when Vision pulls Norm out of his trance, out of his, like, you know, sitcom induced trance, and he's freaking out about his sister and his dad. I was like, oh shit, this. They're all dealing with that then. Every single Herb, Norm, all of them are like all fucked up right now. And that adds a whole other layer of urgency to everything, where it's like, oh my God. And there's like, what, 4 episodes left? There's so much to be done. Oh, this is so good. And I think that, like, when it comes to the twins, Agnes killed that fucking dog. Let's be honest. She killed a dog, and I think what happened is Mephisto and her want to age up the kids as fast as they fucking can, so that they can use. But I mean, they're technically kind of immaculately conceived. It's kind of antichrist-ish if you think about it. I mean, my idea is he wants to use them for their powers for some reason. It's very, you know, unholy almost, right? But the idea that the clothing that she sent Monica back in is official. It's real. It's been manifested into reality to the point where, but it was fused with her Kevlar suit, which means, could the kids actually stay real? Could Wanda create life permanently now because this is the first time she's ever done anything like this. And they talk about that too. So she's clearly got to be having some help from an outside source that gave her this ability to warp reality more than she's already able to, because the telekinesis, it allows her to do that kind of stuff. And my idea is eventually she will see whatever deal she made, you know, to get Vision back and to have the family that she's always wanted. I think eventually she will realize that, you know, she's getting a fucking a trick played on her, and I'm expecting maybe another similar moment like in Infinity War when she's pulling the stone out of Vision's head, where it's going to be like another, it's okay, you know, Vision saying to her, it's okay, you can do this, like, you have to let me go. This isn't real life, you know? And she's going to fucking hopefully realize that it's who knows, hopefully. She's technically fucking the antagonist right now. Hopefully she'll pull herself to fucking together and give up Vision and the kids. Oh my God, I love this show so much. Dude, also Paul Bettany is teaching acting with this show. His contrast across, like, you know, the cheesy sitcom acting is so weighed down. It's so full of substance and genuine concern and emotion. When he's like, Wanda, something is going on. You can tell, like, Paul Bettany is really pulling it out so well. It's a fucking masterclass performance, I think. And yeah, I mean, I started off this, like, talking about WonkaVision being like, yeah, Elizabeth Olsen, but, like, they're pulling equal weight so well in this fucking show. I also loved everyone else in Sword talking about how Scarlet Witch, if she wanted, she could have killed Thanos if he didn't call Blitz, which is so funny because it gives a little insight into, like, regular life in the world of the MCU. It's just the fandom, except the heroes are real. You know, like, how many fucking message boards were full of technically, if Thanos didn't do this, then it would have been. That's like the kind of reality that they live in, which is just ours, but with superheroes. Oh man, I love this fucking show so much. All right, I think this is the longest I've gone with one of these episodes so far. Episode 4. Hey, it's gonna be fun trying to think of a title through all this shit. And now, so tying this into Spider-Man 3. The multiverse is open officially. Fox character introduced in an MCU Disney show. MCU Disney project. The dam is open. Now, what's interesting about this is I think everyone kind of assumed, because of how linear the MCU has been with stories and with characters, I think everyone kind of assumed like, oh, they're going to introduce them, they're going to recast everybody. But the beauty of the multiverse is you don't have to. You can create from stuff that's already been created, whether you like it or not, whether you like Dark Phoenix and Apocalypse and New Mutants and all these other movies that, whether people like them or not, they exist, and now you can branch out from them in creative ways that weren't possible before. We can now possibly see Michael Fassbender and James McAvoy in the MCU. It is entirely possible now to see them. And that goes for all characters that have existed in Marvel Comics movies before this Fox Disney merger. The only hope that you can have that I can have with this, at least, is that it's all used in the name of fucking substance and not just for like, the eyeballs, you know what I mean, to get, because that's the problem with the next set. Like I said earlier, the problem with the next set of movies is there isn't a giant Avengers to gather everyone together for the next phase. So what are they going to do? Doctor Strange is going to show up in Spider-Man. Spider-Man's going to have Tobey and Andrew, possibly, most likely. Wanda is going to show up in Doctor Strange 2. The Eternals is going to possibly deal with a young Thanos. And what happens now is Star-Lord's even going to be in Thor: Love and Thunder. It's like, what happens now is an excessive use of what the MCU does best, is having everyone show up at the same time on the same screen, because that's what the love is of the comics, is everyone in the same issue, and the MCU is the formula that they worked on is perfect for that. It's perfect to see, Star-Lord and Captain America and Iron Man and Spider-Man and Black Widow and all these other people show up on the same screen. The problem, I think, is that that's usually it, but I think this is a different time. I think that the simple concept of the multiverse allows you to do so much more, allows you to be so much more ridiculous and creative and not held down by specific rules. Rules like the idea of recasting Chadwick Boseman for Black Panther. It's a shitty thought. It's a shitty idea. He is Black Panther, but at the same time, so that we're just not going to have another Black Panther. That's where the MCU, that's where the multiverse comes in. And, there are all those talks of, I talked about this last week, all those talks of Michael B. Jordan coming in. He can play the character of T'Challa in another reality. It's just T'Challa in that reality biologically looks like Killmonger in the first reality. So there's so much potential showing up right now. There's so much that can be done. And the same goes for DC. I mean, with the normality of the multiverse now, there's so much that can be done. And the only hope is that it's not fucking boring. It's so easy to make this stuff boring, to hold yourself down and to make everything, bland. And oh God, I'd like to think that like the perfect start to phase 4 of the MCU is WonkaVision. I'm so happy that Black Widow did not start phase 4. I don't give a fuck. I was excited for Black Widow. It's at the point where it's like I could take it or leave it. It's unbelievable that it took this long for her movie to come out, and especially now when it's going to be the most mundane shit. It's going to be the blandest fucking teetering on average project from the MCU in so long, because now you have all this potential with the multiverse. It's like, oh god, it's so I'm actually looking forward to so much, but it's such a cautious fucking proceed with caution. You know, it's gonna be some real fucking wild shit. All right. All right. I actually went through everything on this list, and I think this might be the longest. I think I might have. I can't tell because I don't know if I went over an hour or not on the time here, but I think I did. All right. Sweet. What a meaty fucking episode. Oh shit. All right. This was a fucking good one. All right. You can follow me on Instagram at. This is the end. I'm all over the place right now, but that's because I'm really happy with today's episode and what we talked about. You can follow me on Instagram at Comedian of Cinema. You can subscribe to the podcast on YouTube at Comedian of Cinema. You can follow the podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts at How's It Going to End. And hey, while you're there at Apple Podcasts, why don't you leave a review and a 5-star rating, because that is good from what I hear. And for more topics to talk about, DM me on Instagram. I'm like relatively active in the DMs. I don't get many, so send me some shit to talk about, and we will talk about it. Questions, comments, stuff that you don't fucking like, that I like, opinions that you don't like of mine, and we'll fucking get into it, man. That's what this is gonna be, dude. All right. See you next week.